When you start your career at the age of 36, you have some serious catching up to do. How many of you here started your career in your 20s? I think just about everyone. That's the usual. Today, I'd like to share with you a belief that's very dear to me. And I came to this belief through my own personal experiences. I believe it's never too late. I started my career at the age of 36 because I started my family at the age of 21. Someone once said to me, "You did it backwards." I guess I did. Luckily, it turned out okay. At the age of 36, we were living in Hong Kong, and we had lived in Asia for 13 years in different countries. My daughter was born in Malaysia. At that time, our children were 15 and 11. And I was living the life of an expat wife, doing what expat wives did back then. I maintained a full social schedule. We entertained a lot. In Asia, especially back then, the social and the entertaining was a very important aspect, part of a businessman's position. And I was active in charity and volunteer. And of course, there was tennis, bridge, luncheons. You say, not a bad life. I enjoyed it for many years. But it came one day, I said to myself, I can't do this for the rest of my life. But what could I do? I was 36. I never held a full-time position. And I thought, well, maybe I'll focus on banking. I majored in economics, undergraduate, and I knew I had an affinity for numbers. I remember the interview. It was with a middle-aged, mid-level bank manager. And he had lots of questions. But I think the question that he was really dying to ask was, Dinah, why do you want a job? I mean, he was totally perplexed and puzzled and highly skeptical. He thought I was a bored housewife. I just wanted, some excitement in my life. I had to convince him this was not a job. This was the start of my career. Happily, I got the job as a bank analyst. This was an entry-level position. And over 2 years, I held 2 positions, I had 2 bosses, and I had 2 promotions. Not a bad start. When I went to talk to my boss, the vice president, and I told him that I was leaving to get my MBA, he said, Dinah, why do you want to spend all that money on an MBA? In 2 years, you could be a second vice president. Little did he know that the real reason I was leaving Hong Kong was because I was getting a divorce and getting my MBA so I could give myself a new start. Fast forward 20 years. I had been with half a dozen companies, some of them high-tech startups, a few Fortune 500, and 3.5 years in Washington, D.C. in the Bush administration. This was the father Bush. I had climbed the corporate ladder, and in my mind, I finally broke the glass ceiling when I became a corporate vice president at a Fortune 500. I was VP International Business Development for Burger King. After I left the corporate world, I did a few entrepreneurial ventures, and then I realized what I really wanted to do was to follow a dream, go to China, study Chinese, and reconnect with my roots. When I came to this decision, I remember standing in my mom's kitchen, and I said, Mom, I've given this a lot of thought. What I really want to do is to go to Beijing and study Mandarin. She looked at me, and then she said, in her own caring way, Dinah, at your age, forget about it. I knew she meant well. At the time, I was 58. And of course, I went anyway. And a year became a decade. That was 13 years ago. Now, I am telling myself, once again, this time in words, which I didn't use before, it's not too late. So often in life, we don't even get started because we tell ourselves, it's too late. Today, I'm here to challenge you to choose a new belief. Tell yourself, it's never too late.